This is an SM Media production.
Hi folks, and welcome to the latest episode of the SM Media East of Scotland football show. I'm Scott McPikes, an absolute pleasure to be your host. I'm delighted to be joined by three very special guests. We have from Inverkeithing Hillfield Swifts. It is a pleasure to welcome Chairman Craig Reid and Manager Jason McCrindle. Thanks guys for coming on. I'm looking forward to this.
So are we. Nice to meet you, Scott.
It's
Thanks
a pleasure.
And just so you know, I'm Craig. This is Jason.
yeah, obviously, fascinating time of the season, obviously, to get you guys on. I want to kind of assess, obviously, the trophies. I thought about the qualifying cup. Really impressive performance to win it. Obviously, winning it in the final last week. How big an occasion is that for the club? We'll start with Craig on that. Craig, in terms of winning a trophy, getting a bit of silverware, what does that mean for the club?
Huge. I mean, I think everybody knows now we've not been going that long as a senior team. So, from a club's perspective, it's great to secure a bit of silverware in such a short period of time, whereby a number of teams wait a lot longer than that to actually get a bit of silverware. As a club, we've been going a long time for a youth section. And what was really good about it is we managed to secure a club with a good number of players that are within our squad that have come through the club. And that's our kind of operation model at the end of the day, and that's what we're trying to achieve. So from a club's perspective, I don't know if you were there on the day, Scott, but there was a healthy support there. There was a number of kids, coaches, parents, family. It is a real family club, and it was just great to see so many people there. And that's, from a club's perspective, the most pleasing thing about Jason and the guys being able to go over there on the Sunday and put on a performance and come back with a piece of silverware.
Jason, in terms of from a kind of on-field perspective as well, obviously, just your side, a cup run can always be brilliant to galvanise a side and drive towards glory. Getting that result, getting that trophy for yourselves as a team, and obviously the kind of season that you've had, how good did that feel when that final whistle went and getting that, as I say, getting that bit of silverware and getting that that surely must have gave you a massive boost.
Yeah, I think the whole journey, if you want to call it that, I remember coming in and then we ended up having to go down to Gala midweek. I think we only had about 14 players that night, a few under 20s in the team. So to get to that stage, and then obviously Broxburn, and then the day itself, Dunbar that day was an incredible, difficult day. But as you say, when that final whistle went, it was almost just sheer joy and just. Yeah, I was really delighted for everybody. I said at the time, just really delighted for everybody connected with the club. And as I said, there was a lot of hard work that went into that to get to that point. And then when the whistle went, just in the scenes after it, all the kids coming on and things like that, it felt like a special day for the club. And I was proud of myself, proud of my family, and things like that were there as well. So yeah, it was a special day.
Craig, obviously, like you said that you haven't been as a senior team not going very long, and obviously joined the Pyramid a few years ago. In terms of the infrastructure of the club, just moving obviously towards the new venue a few years ago, and the way you have just been able to build up over the past few years. How big's the progress been off the park in terms of just getting into this pyramid system? We criticise it a lot, but in terms of for a club like yourselves, who have obviously made that journey through, it can be a great opportunity as well. It must be something you have thrived in and felt like it can be just so much better.
Yeah, well, listen, it was daunting at the beginning. Mm-hmm. We didn't know quite, we joined just while, the juniors were still strong at that point in time, especially in Fife. We contemplated junior football, and it was actually kind of discussions at the end of season 2017, beginning of season 2018, where we then had a discussion about, well, why do we not try and go east of Scotland? And it wasn't long after, Kelty had done so well. Mm-hmm. Because obviously Kelty left the junior ranks, joined East of Scotland ranks and progressed up through. So, we never really thought that East of Scotland was going to explode quite as much as it did. But when we made the decision, not saying it was because we joined, everybody else joined, but there was a healthy amount of teams joined that year, and then even more so the following year, there was a big, after teams joined. So we kind of jumped on the wave at the right time, I feel. You know, we always knew the criteria of where we were based at the time, which was the Ballast in Inverkeithing, was quite difficult to meet. And, even we've tried hard to develop it further and further and further, but, we're hitting a brick wall at every turn. And we then decided there was a little opportunity to come up that came along to move to Dalgety Bay Sports Centre. And we just saw that as a better opportunity for the longer term of the club, from a training facility perspective, a home perspective, because when you're playing on a grass pitch, you're a club for 6 months of the year. When it comes to the winter months, everybody disperses into different training facilities all over Dunfermline, Rosyth, Burnt Island, anywhere you can basically get an hour on an Astro, and you never see anybody. So, what it allowed us to do when we came to Dalgety Bay is everybody trains here now. Everybody trains here 12 months of the year. We still use the Ballast Bank in the summer months for training for the girls section, and we still use it at weekends because we're a big club. We've got more than one 11-a-side team playing at the weekend. So we use it to kind of, at the weekends, for 11-a-side teams for the youth sections. But for the opportunity perspective, I mean, first season we joined, we were in a conference with, pretty sure, Bonnyrigg, Linlithgow. I mean, I think one of our first games was a 10-0 drubbing with Bonnyrigg down at the Ballast Bank. So, we've progressed a lot since then. I think Linlithgow beat us 10-0 that year as well. The first season was really just about finding our feet, which we did do. We then had a decent second season, and then we were aiming for promotion, I think, the third season or something like that. And, I think COVID hit, so we managed to got the benefit of COVID really on a points per game basis. The season after that, we were doing all right, and then it kind of got cancelled, and, there was no promotion or relegation that season. Then we came back, and then we managed to, stay above the relegation zone, so to speak, over the last couple of seasons. But it's been great for us as a club to develop. I think we've struggled to keep up on the field a little bit with as much work as went off the field, because we're really relying on our youth coming through, and we had to really wait for the first year the first couple of years to let that progress and get them off age that they were actually competent enough to play in East of Scotland. And now we're at a stage that we've got every year a crop of players coming through that, we, Jason and the guys, get the benefit of picking from, that are really, really well coached, good kids that have got an affinity with the club and love playing at Swifts.
Jason, obviously yourself coming in November, and you've done a really good job last season with Lancarty. I remember speaking about it a lot in pods we did last year. Like, coming into Inverkeithing, what was it that kind of galvanised you about the club? And since you've been in, obviously there's a lot of youth players coming through. Like, when we do the Player of the Week, we see that there's a lot of young talent in the side. What was it about the club that fascinated you, and was the kind of reason you chose to go to Inverkeithing?
It's just a conversation with Craig. We sat down and spoke at length. He just told me about the model and how he obviously wanted the club to develop, and obviously the infrastructure at the club at the time. It kind of ties in with how I want to do things as well, in terms of promoting young players, working with young players, also working with the current group of players as well, with that wee bit of experience that we've got on the side. But I think in terms of the model of what they want to do and how they want to do it, it ties in with me. And I was really excited to get going and work with the young guys and try and develop them, because this is actually only my first full season as a manager, as a proper manager. I've always liked a number two, or like a head coach type thing. But this year I've been a manager, so it's just something that really, really excited me. And as I said, spoke to Craig, and it was just, the conversations were really good, and how we can develop the club and develop the players.
And Craig, how important has Jason been, and obviously kind of galvanising that young squad, and as I say, a bit of like stability coming in? Just obviously, like, Jason, I think, had done Jason and Stevie had the name value in terms of what they brought. Jason obviously did a really good coaching career. What was the kind of differences you found with kind of Jason coming in, and how impressed have you been with how he's conducting himself?
See, probably what we say is that we're 25-8, right? We're not 24/7, we're 25-8 when we're at football. So you're really looking for somebody that's going to be as driven, as enthusiastic, as available, as hard working as everybody else, because we're a hard working committee and it can be a bit demanding sometimes, but we live and breathe it. So we're really looking for somebody that could live and breathe it. And Jason, he's not quite at my speed yet, but he's getting there. But you're also looking for somebody that has a personality, somebody that can have a bit of banter, because when you're doing it 25-8, it's actually, it can be really draining sometimes when, the relationships aren't quite as you would hope they would be, because you actually end up speaking to or being with the people more than you are with your wife. So, you really need to have a decent relationship where you can call a spade, or, we've had many discussions and it's like, no, excuse the swearing words, but, we didn't, let's go this way, let's go that way, we agree that we're going to do this. So you have to have that relationship that allows that kind of to flourish, and people not take the huff, or people, listen to other people's opinions, and drive it forward, eh? And if anything, we have a laugh when we're doing it. I think that's one of the most important things. It's a laugh. It's not necessarily result driven per se, as long as we always said this, and when we sat down with Jason at the beginning, results are results. You can't control them. But if we can control all the other things that we're doing about the development of the players, the relationship with the 20s coming through, the development of the first team, the way we coach, the way we train, the way we set our teams up, the way we communicate with players, the way we use all the other tools that we've got, then we're all pretty confident that in the long run, we'll get the results if we do all the basics right. So that was kind of like that, eh?
Yeah. And Jason, obviously on field in the league, like we speak about it all the time, it's such a tough league and such a busy league in terms of games coming thick and fast. Like, how do you kind of assess the season? Like, we'll obviously touch on the end of the game on Saturday, which I think is probably the biggest game out with the Cup of the season. Like, how do you kind of assess where you are in the league just now? Like, I know there's only one game left, and I know it's tight. He's got the big one on Saturday. At this moment, how do you feel sitting where you are in the league?
We're in a position, obviously, that we don't want to be in. But I think, obviously, Craig touched on it a wee bit there with regards to results. I think is for me, in terms of the way I want to do things, as long as we're continually looking to develop the players, and I'm always harping on about the performance before the result. So I'm always I'm quite greedy. I always want to win games, but I want to win it with a good performance. But I think, obviously, the situation we're in, we don't want to be in it. And it's really up to us in terms of how we then make sure we're not in this position again, because we can't keep season after season being in this situation where we're fighting to survive and things like that. So for me, it's just about changing, obviously, the mentality and making sure that the guys are focused in terms of wanting to improve, wanting to develop, to make sure that we're kicking on. Because I said it to Craig as well, like the other day there, it's like Broxburn won the league because they've got Premier League players and they do it week after week after week. Now, we've got players that are playing in the Premier League, and the level of inconsistency is why we're in this position that we're in. So for me, it's about trying to develop the players to make sure that they are able then getting the tools to do it week after week, to make sure that they are established Premier League players. And then if they are, then we can then look to gradually build up the table. But I think for me, it's just about developing them and working with them to make sure that they get that level of consistency as well.
Let's move on to Saturday. Obviously, we'll start with the massive game between Inverkeithing and Glenrothes. It finished 4-2. Craig, how big a win was that?
It was huge. We knew going into that game that if we didn't get anything from it, we were relegated. I think that was fair to say. We didn't get any points, we were going down. But I think more so the manner of the performance of the boys was good. We had a few players missing, but we set them up. Well, Jason set them up, and the speed and the intensity and the drive and the determination was there for the beginning. We scored some cracking goals. If anything, we play some cracking football at times, and we're blessed with a decent surface out there. No, it's not everybody's cup of tea, but it really does suit us as a team sometimes to have that surface there. And we moved the ball really well, scored a couple of cracking goals. Glenrothes, credit to them, brought themselves back into the game. I think we're 2-2 at one point. 2-2, and then, as much as it became 2-2, we were slightly stronger, in my opinion, and with the substitutions and stuff we made in the second half, we were able to kind of go and stretch it and get the 4-2. So the result was superb for us. It was a much needed 3 points. It keeps us in the mix. It's it keeps us in the mix for the midweek games, and then you never know what happens. It might keep us in the mix till the Saturday. If we stay up, we stay up. If we go down, we go down. That's it.
Jason, for yourself, obviously, you said it was obviously 2 each, and just to get those kind of late goals, and I've got an eye to what's happening in terms of what's going on just now. We're recording this during the Tuesday night game, so at the moment, as Crossgates and Glenrothes are both losing, so maybe a wee smile coming there. Hopefully that maybe stays the same for you. But in terms of getting that result, and obviously Tynecastle winning as well, like, do you have an eye on other games, or is it impossible at this point? Is it just a case of focusing on your own? Like, I ask that to a lot of managers. Like, do you have an eye?
No,
I was trying to stay away from the results tonight, but thanks very much.
I think
Sorry about
every manager will give you the boring answer that, listen, without being disrespectful to other teams, I'm no here to worry about other teams. Tonight, we're training tonight, and I've told the guys, we went in there, we've done a wee bit of analysis on Saturday's game and against the opposition that we've got on Saturday, and I told them, look, the focus is on us in terms of how we approach the training tonight. Like in years gone by, you might be going to the last Tuesday session of the season and you've nothing to play for, and the standards and the levels might drop, but we've just spoke about the standards there and in terms of the training and things like that as well. So without being disrespectful to the other teams, Inverkeithing's my main concern, and if I'm focusing on what's happening elsewhere and I'm not paying attention to what my guys are doing, and then I'm not doing my job properly. So I need to make sure that regardless of tonight's results, whatever happens. But for me, I've still got a game to prepare for on Saturday.
And obviously, like we did get the confirmation that Broxburn had been crowned champions on Saturday. Well, I just want to kind of ask you both, and kind of whoever wants to jump in first can jump in. Like, we've seen it with Linlithgow and Tranent. Those teams have jumped up to the Lowland League. Broxburn are going to have to play a playoff with either Creetown or Dalbeattie. Broxburn aside, obviously, that have impressed you this season, and how do you see them, if they get promotion, going on to thrive in the Lowland League?
We go first?
You go.
I think they've just got as much chance as anybody else. They're a good club. They're full of good people. They've got some good players on their books. I really think in any league, it's just about getting a good start and stringing some results together. I think that really does make a difference over the course of a season. Having a good start, especially in the first couple of months when the games are, midweek games are involved and you're trying to keep your squad busy and gain a little bit of fitness as well. But they get a good start, just as much chance as anybody else. You never know what's going to happen in the leagues, and I think it's maybe one of our kind of failures, particularly over the last couple of seasons, is just having a bit of a slow start. You really would like to kind of string together 4 or 5 results at the beginning and get points on the board. So no, Broxburn I think they'll be all right if they go up next season. They're a big club, big community club as well. Play the resources, so
I've just recently playing them there, playing them in the league, and then obviously again in the semi-final. Really impressed, really good side, loads of, as Craig touched on there, good experience side as well, with a lot of good quality in there as well. So if obviously I would, again, without being disrespectful to the opponent in the playoff, I would fancy Broxburn to win that. Not put my neck on the line a wee bit, but just seeing them closely in the last sort of couple of weeks, I would Broxburn, they'll do okay.
Other results of the weekend, obviously Dunbar went to Crossgates and won 2-1. Jeanfield beat Haddington 2-1. Musselburgh Ford and Donald 0. We also had Pennycook 1, Socky 2, Tynecastle 4, Lancarty 0, Hutcheville 2, Halabeed 1. Jason, it's been a fascinating league in terms of a lot of sides who, I think if you ask a lot of managers, they'll be fairly disappointed where they are. But I think that just says as well, it's a fantastic league this season.
Yeah, it's really competitive. Before I came here, obviously I looked at some of the results. The Inverkeithing, they beat Dunbar, they beat Socky. Just to name a few. And then obviously we've went away and played Broxburn the other week there and beat them. But then, we've lost to teams round about us. I think really it's just about what you do on the day and, how you prepare and how you set up and things like that. With a wee bit of luck as well. But the league's really, really competitive. But Craig touched on it as well. If you can string a few results together, and then that obviously pushes you up the league. And as I said about us, we've just been a wee bit inconsistent, and that's why we're in the position that we're in.
Big first division, obviously fascinating weekend. You had Camelin losing at home to Preston Athletic, St Andrews and Newton Grange end results. You've got a massive game coming up on Wednesday night. St Andrews versus Whitburn, probably the winners of that go up. It's a fascinating end to the season there. Which sides, just looking at the kind of table, looking where we're at, probably looks like St Andrews and Whitburn have the edge at the moment.
Yep.
Do you see both them going up?
But what I know about them, I've got a couple of pals up at St Andrews. We got it right. We Meeks. They're good guys. They've been doing really well this season. I think they've still got a couple of games in hand over Dunny Pace, but they're equal with Whitburn. So I think it'll be my own opinion. St Andrews and Whitburn. We played Whitburn a couple of times this season as well. I think we played them in a friendly. We played them in the beginning. I think it was the first round of the qualifying cup. And it was a really, really tough game. And they're a really, really tough side. And as it kind of takes him as a good guy as well. So yeah, I think those two teams will be the teams that end up promoted along with Dunny Pace. I know obviously Camelin changed their manager leading into kind of like the last part of the season. But other than that, I don't really know too much about them, to be honest with you. I just think that for what I know and what I'm seeing on the results basis, Whitburn and St Andrews are probably just about got enough to get over the line.
Jason, what do you think of Camelin's season so far? I know it's obviously difficult to assess with changing manager, but I think a lot of people would have said Camelin would be I thought Camelin would be nailed on to go up just based on what they've done in the summer.
Funnily enough, I was my previous club, Canoe. We were in this league last year with Canoe, and we obviously managed to get promoted. But some of the teams in that league, you've still got Newton Grange and your Whitehills, Preston. There's some really established clubs. But when we played Camelin in the first game of last season, they had just been relegated for the Premier League, and they were one of the favourites. And we beat them 2-1. But the setup, the infrastructure, and everything there, they should be a Premier League club in my own opinion. They're a big club, well established. So yeah, they've still got an outside chance of obviously getting promoted this year. But you want to have as many good teams in the Premier League as possible. But they're a really, really good side, big side, but they've still got a wee bit of work to do in terms of trying to get promoted. Yeah,
absolutely. And obviously they've got the fascinating that it might be 4 that go up, so I think that'll be kind of quite eye-catching to see what happens. Jason, I'll start with you for second division. Thornton Hibs guaranteed promotion. Congratulations to them. They join Bo'ness. It's either going to be Armadale or Edinburgh South. Who joins them?
First of all, congratulations to Bo'ness, obviously winning at the moment winning the league, top of the league. Thornton Hibs, Big Gibby's done an unbelievable job. Yeah, I think he's must be due a statue. I think he's been there a long time, so congratulations to him. And as you say, it looks as though it's a shootout between Armadale and Edinburgh South. Edinburgh South have obviously got the 2 games in hand, 2 points behind. So on paper, you're looking as though Edinburgh South have got the slight advantage, but Armadale have got the points. But if you're asking me, I would say Edinburgh South.
I'm going Armadale.
Okay.
I just said I've got a wee bit of experience in their management team, and we were actually going to play them in a friendly earlier in the season, and never quite came about in the winter period. But aye.
It's only because I'm an Edinburgh boy. I'm an Edinburgh boy, so that's the only reason for going for Edinburgh.
If you want a bit of why this show can be so powerful, we had Kev on from Tweedmouth a few weeks ago, and they needed 3 wins to stay up. Came on the show and they got them. So we can be quite a good omen for the last games. But I think as well a lot of credit down there, to get those wins. And I think again another really tough league. And Craig, I'll go with you in this as well. Did you see the thing when you were in Edinburgh United? That was a bit fascinating. That was a weird look for the league, wasn't it? But obviously Edinburgh United, something's happened there in terms of the thing. But Tweedmouth, I think a lot of credits to go to Kev for the job he's done.
Yeah. Aye, but he's managed to kind of steer them out of that kind of relegation zone. My wee pal, Anne Sheely, at Newborough, went in maybe about a month ago, maybe 6 weeks ago. I think maybe that Hange had been in a wee bit earlier. They might have managed to steer themselves out of that kind of position because he's got a good way of working with Ange. We actually helped him out with a couple of players as trialists the other week there. And I like Newborough as a club. We do a bit of business with them back and forward, and I would have liked to see maybe Ange in a wee bit earlier. And I think with a wee bit of wind behind them, Ange would have got them out of that position, but it's not happening now.
In terms of the third division, Jason, I think two sides really with the potential to kind of kick on as well. You've got West Calder and Bathgate, both obviously secured promotion as well. But massive congratulations to them. Bathgate obviously got the better of them on Saturday, then went on to win 6-0 against Livy United. I think a lot of credit have to go to the guys at West Calder and Bathgate. They're two sides I can see kicking on as well next season.
Yeah, well, I'll show you how old I am. Like years ago, Bathgate were a traditional junior club. I think they'll get to like Scottish Junior Cup finals.
They did, yeah, 2008, I think.
2008. So yeah, like growing up, it was always Bathgate were always like one of the biggest junior sides, and obviously whatever's happened, so they maybe took a wee step back. But it's good to see them obviously then getting promoted, and then hopefully again they'll kick on and get back to where they were. But again, it's a really competitive league down there, really tough as well. So yeah, it looks as though Hart Hull potentially might make that third spot.
Some story as well for Hart Hull to be with.
They went to Aberdeen. Did they not go into Aberdeen?
Yeah, I think they were. They were in the West a couple of seasons ago, and then obviously joined. To be where they are now is remarkable.
I know, it's wild. Yeah. So yeah, well done to them. Well done to West Calder as well.
Yeah. Craig, in terms of like we touched on obviously the pyramid at the start of the show, and in terms of like seeing clubs like West Calder and Bathgate coming into the league, Hart Hull as well, like Bowness, Armadale, a lot of really good stories, and it just makes the whole level so much more competitive, so much better for clubs as well to kind of be up against similar clubs with similar kind of levels and ambitions. Just makes for a brilliant setup we've got now.
Yep. I think what's really good is, sometimes you bemoan it because there is quite a lot of fluidity between different leagues. The league below us, there's three coming up into the Premier League and there's 3 going out.
Yeah.
So it's quite a big change. That's 6 teams in one season. So sometimes you look at it and you think, there's not much wiggle room there. You could either be going up or you could be going down. You're never really going to get stuck in the middle. But I think it's really good. I like it. I think it's fresh every season. There is a good changeover of teams. I like going and playing different people. You didn't want it to get stagnant, and I think having that kind of ability to kind of move up and down and find your level, and then come again as well. Sometimes, there are a lot of clubs that kind of find themselves going down the way, and they'll come again and come back up. And it doesn't matter what league you're winning; it still brings a bit of success and a bit of enjoyment and a bit of enthusiasm around about the local areas. And it's if you go from the first into the second and you come back up, you still win a league, and it's a good bit of promotion. So I like it.
Absolutely. Right, moving on to Saturday. Obviously, we've got a massive game in the Premier Division. Obviously, Hillfield versus Inverkeithing. Jason, obviously, there's a lot going to be happening in the final day. What you're looking for? I know that obviously survival is the main thing, but in terms of what would you take right now? What are you kind of looking for at the weekend?
Yeah, again, I don't want to sound boring, but I want to go there, and I want the team to perform.
Mm-hmm.
I need to be true to myself in the way that I want to do things. Just because we must win. I can't really change in terms of what I do and how I do things. I'm still going to go there and set the team up the way I want to go and set up to go and try and play, to go and try and win the game. If obviously it filters through that we need a point, I can't set up to then just go and try and get a point. I always want to go into every game to go and try and win it. Obviously, we've not been successful in doing that, but I still need to stick. Call it naive or stupid, but I still need to stick. I still need to stick to my beliefs and what I believe and how I want the team to play. So yeah, I'll go there and we'll go there to try and win. That will be the message to the players, and that's what we've just spoke to them there about as well.
Yeah, and Craig, there's obviously a motivation for the club to stay in the league, but in terms of kind of last day of the season, it's going to be very dramatic. Just in terms of the kind of eyes on the product, eyes on the club, it's going to be quite a big occasion. And Hillfield have been probably one of the form sides in the second half of the season. It's going to be a tough challenge.
It's going to be a tough challenge, yeah. My pal Big Moody's went in there and he's done great with them. And he's got them winning games, which is just sometimes, it doesn't need to be pretty sometimes, but he's managed to get them winning, which is great for them. It's good to see them floating themselves away up. I think they'll maybe finish the highest placed 5 team at the end of the season. So, it's great because unfortunately, Hull Beast maybe had a couple of difficult seasons there in a row, and you know they really seem to be kind of getting back to where they would like to be and where they deserve to be. A good club, good guys. For us on Saturday, as Jason says, it's just about turning up and performing. We can't control a lot of things, but if we can control our effort and our work rate and our determination, and we go out there and we put a show on, then if we win, we win. If we lose, we lose. If we win, and it's still not enough, because it might not be enough, by the way. You never know. So we just got to see what happens.
Yeah, well, we can only wish you all the very best, and thank you for bringing the trophy on. It's been a pleasure to talk to the both of you. Thank you very much, and best of luck with the weekend.
Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks very much to everyone who's tuned in, folks, and we will join you then next week for a full recap of the action.